It's not a job, it's definitely a lifestyle. And once the travel bug bites, you're done. It's there forever. Was one of the best, if not the best decision that I could have made for myself, both personally and professionally. All the perks of traveling, as well as we all know, is the adventure aspect for sure, and the experiences that you're going to get to have that you never would get to have if you're in your hometown. I've been able to meet so many amazing people, see so many amazing places, all these bucket list things that I've always wanted to do from being a travel nurse.
Find yourself a recruiter that is passionate about this as much as you are. What you do is tough. It's very rewarding, but you need someone that's going to be there for you every step of the way. Call a recruiter at Travel Nurse Across America. We know where you can go to have a really great experience. We're here to help. We are here to help. You help people every day. Let us help you.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to MDF Instruments Crafting Wellness Podcast.
I'm Brandy Pinkerton, and I've been a nurse for 23 years, primarily NICU, PICU, all in the pediatric world.
My name is Gina Deaton Petruk. I'm based out of Cincinnati, Ohio, and I have been in the industry for over 20 years.
I've done flight nursing and travel nursing. I've completed over 20 assignments, primarily with TNAA. And most recently, I started a brand called Travel Nurse 101, which I partnered with TNAA, and it is all education and mentorship for primarily new travelers or nurses that are thinking about getting into the industry. And I'm able to just kind of guide them every step of the way and give them everything they need to know very quickly and effectively so we can get them started and be successful.
I have been with TNAA for 15. I started out as a recruiter and trainer, and now I'm a senior director of recruitment and absolutely love it. I've actually been a part of anywhere from strike contracts to compliance, managing training. So really a lot of love and respect for the healthcare field.
That's awesome. So Travel Nurse Across America was founded on the belief that healthcare could be better, right? So what was the original vision and how has it evolved over the years?
TNAA was founded in 1999 by a group of individuals. They just really wanted to do things different. They wanted to do things better. They weren't a big corporate machine. They truly were a homegrown group of people that really had a purpose for creating something that was honest, transparent, a customer service experience from start to finish for not just the healthcare professional, but for the hospital. They really wanted to put people first and make the process seamless. And I explain it that way because it is still that way today. And we just want to keep getting better. And with that, we've added on divisions such as our MSP with Simplify, Stogo with TN101, EGN, TravCon, and truly just creating this expansive network of just connected, empowered, educated individuals, truly a travel healthcare ecosystem, if you will. Really proud of what they started and how it's evolved, but just gotten better, truly.
Really curious how both of you got involved in TNAA.
I would be happy to. So, like I said, kind of mentioned in the beginning, I have this very unique perspective because I've worked both externally and internally with TNAA. So I believed in them so much wholeheartedly externally that when they asked me to partner with them with Travel Nurse 101, it was a no-brainer. So I personally was a traveling nurse with Travel Nurse Across America, as well as some other agencies in our industry also. And TNAA definitely set the bar really high. All agencies are not created equal in this industry. I fell in love with TNAA very much about some of the things that Gina was speaking on, the transparency, the honesty, the company values that TNAA has. So I was very excited when they asked me to join them kind of corporately and partner with me to continue to help our travelers be successful.
So I joined the company about 15 years ago. I was with another agency at the time, a huge agency. They also staffed internationally. I just kept hearing about TNAA, just kept hearing about them, and just incredible reputation. And I wanted to learn more. So at that time, I spoke to a man named Gene Scott. He was our CEO at the time, and I had an interview with him and sold. I just thought he was genuine, he was kind, compassionate, smart. And, in those moments in life, you're just like, I want to be a part of this. I want to be a part of, instead of big corporate America, just a company that really cared. And I could feel that when I talked to him. And that meant so much to me because I come from a family of ER nurses, my sister, my mother, and I wanted to work for a company that really cared about those people. Here I am, 15 years later, still loving it.
It sounds like a very honest, caring company that really wants to do good in the world, and that's easy for people like-minded like you guys who want to go and get involved. A company that's really putting their money where their mouth is and really actually helping the nurses who do so much for us in our most trying times. I wonder how you think TNAA is really kind of changing the healthcare industry for the better, especially from the traveler's point of view.
And, from a traveler's perspective, I truly believe that TNAA is changing the game in this industry by bringing the human connection back into healthcare staffing. They are not just interested in filling contracts, they are interested in that relationship with the nurses. Building that relationship is so important with TNAA, and they want to make sure that us travelers feel supported, seen, heard, and valued every single step of the way. And it's definitely not a one size fits all approach with TNAA. Every experience, every interaction that I've had, they are real people who just genuinely care about you and want you to be successful, not just for one assignment. They don't just want to get you on the hook for one assignment as a travel healthcare professional. They want to keep you, they want to retain you, they want you to stay with them for the long haul. So I really like to call them marriage type material because that's genuinely what they are. You get a real person, not a bot. This current industry that we're in with all the new AI technology, you never know, am I getting somebody real or is this just a bot? But with TNAA, you are getting a true live human being who cares about you and your success from start to finish. After 20 assignments, I can say firsthand that they're raising the standard for what travel nurse support should look like.
I'll add to that. I'm over here just shaking my head. Yes, yes. Everything you just said. I really could go on with so many examples, but I think a lot of what we're doing every single day is not just filling a job opening, right? When we get nurses on the phone or allied professionals on the phone, it's tell me why you became a nurse. Tell me what's important to you outside of just working in the hospital. Like, what do you like to do on your days off? What's important to you? Why are you traveling? It's more than just saying I want to pay off my student loans, and that's fine. We have contracts for that. Are you wanting to see all 50 states? Are you wanting to hike? Are you a foodie? Are you in a hospital, your home hospital, that you really just need a change of scenery and out of the politics? And I have nurses that say, Gina, the ratios are crazy at this hospital. They're crazy high. I'm just looking for a contract where I can just really enjoy going into the hospital and enjoying my days off. Well, we have hospitals for that too, right? So with TNAA, I always tell my travelers, I want to set you up for success. So if it's a hospital where the ratios are high or, it's a little chaotic in there, well, I just want to make sure you know what you're setting yourself up for, right? And that you do have the resources if you feel like clinically I need more support. We've got you. We have a clinical team that has over 30 plus specialties that they present, and some of them have traveled. They're all bedside veterans and they get what you're going through. So I've got your support. I've got hospitals with ratios that aren't as crazy high. So let's get you to Baptist in Montgomery, Alabama. Maybe you need a little break from the bedside. So we also offer a preceptor contract. So for me and my travelers and my team that we're training to speak to travelers every day, it's more than just filling an open spot. It's I want to discover what you're doing this for. I want to make sure it's a really great clinical fit. I want to make sure, like, Brandy said, marriage material, that you want to sign a contract at this hospital with TNAA and you want to keep doing this with me. You want to keep doing this with TNAA because I'm setting you up for success. I'm giving you all of the information. You're not going to be blindsided when you get there. But guess what? If you are, things change. we've got your back. And I think that's my biggest message always to travelers.
That's awesome. I love that it's not just a one size fits all approach because, as you stated, nurses have different priorities. There's different things and reasons why they're going into travel nursing, whether it's to pay off loans or see the world or have better staffing ratios, whatever the reasons are. But I think it's really great that TNAA does look into who you are as a person, what you want out of this contract and what you're looking for. And it sounds like you guys really care and set them up in a position that they're going to flourish in. Kind of cover this a little bit, but the why TNAA was created is kind of what kind of inspired it.
Like I mentioned previously, this group of individuals saw a need in the market and just wanted to do it in a better way. They wanted to really push the transparency piece, the honesty, the customer service. The experience deeply matters. Healthcare professionals see things and do things every day that the average person has no idea. So, working for an agency like TNAA, we just really wanted to make sure that we took care of them. They're out there taking care of everybody else, our mothers, our brothers, our best friends, our babies. We should take care of them. And that truly is the experience here. And I mentioned briefly about our clinical team. Our clinical team isn't just reactive, they're proactive. They're checking in with you. They're giving you test prep. They're making sure that you are set up for success. They're going to give us bed restrictions even. So if you are coming from a 130 bed facility, I'm not sending you to a level 1 800 bed trauma facility. Again, I care about you and your success. And we care about the patients as well. We want to make sure that you walk into that facility, that you get your orientation and you hit the ground running and you feel confident and you are happy to be there. And again, that was back in 1999 and it still holds true today. We want to make sure that we are setting you up for success and that you always have resources here and somebody to talk to, someone that has your back again.
And I love that there are real nurses also who are working with TNAA to set up nurses, because who understands a nurse like a nurse? Understand what they go through, you've been there. So you really know the ins and outs of how bedside works, how hospitals work, and the struggles and maybe the obstacles that nurses might start to face, or things they might, if they're a newer nurse, they might not know to think of or to ask. And so it's really great that you both have that experience in healthcare where you can maybe see those obstacles coming down the road before they do, and kind of bring that up to make sure that they're getting in a position that they're going to do well in and be happy in. So TNAA has the four core values. They say own your relationships, obsess over the experience, simplify the process, and defend our culture. Can you elaborate on these values, why they're important?
Absolutely. I love our core values. A lot of that is what we were founded on. And it's not just four statements on a wall in our corporate headquarters, right? It is something that we talk about every single day. It's a part of, how we reward internally and externally. Owning the relationship, it's engaging with care and transparency. So I'm going to use our clinical team as my example for that one. They represent 30 plus specialties. They build trust with our travelers, real time support, 24/7 support. And again, they're bedside veterans that they get it and they're a phone call away. And they're going to check on you and make sure you're set up for success, right? Obsessing over the experience. Again, this is one of my absolute favorites. An example of that recently, our senior vice president of recruitment reached out to a handful of our travelers and just said, "Hey, what's important to you? What can we do better? What makes you happy on this journey? Or, what do you think is a problem we could help solve?" The resounding answer was affordable housing, it was safe patient ratios. So we take that feedback and we try to do better. Okay, how can we provide more housing resources for these folks? How can we step in and help them more? We have a housing department that's dedicated to sending housing leads, things like that. Do first month's rent plus deposit? Do you need assistance? Do you need any sort of payment assistance? We're just here to help, right? This shouldn't all fall on you. And then as far as the safe patient ratios, again, we don't just have a bunch of job openings that we're trying to fill and not considering these factors. So, safe patient ratios is important to every nurse. Let's just put it out there. So we know the facilities that, really have it together in that aspect. So that is something that we really take into consideration. Our, again, senior vice president talked to these nurses specifically and wanted their feedback, and we heard them. Simplifying the process. This is a great one too. So with our agency, again, we understand nurses are working 4 in a row. They're exhausted. Again, they see things and do things every day that the average person has no idea about. So with us, it's really great because instead of spending all this time filling out an application, rewriting their resume, we have what's called recruiter liaisons they will even do the application with you over the phone, right? So we just try to streamline the process, make it simple, make sure that they're not spending all this time on paperwork just to talk to a recruiter and just to look at jobs with them, right? I also think simplifying the process in just our day to day comes down to, there's so many things. I could keep going on and on. This is part of my passion, right? So when it comes to pay, I think that's something that a lot of our travelers, they see so many options out there, so many agencies, so many different pay packages. It can be, I can't imagine. It's probably so incredibly overwhelming. It's confusing. What's tax-free money? Some agencies offer mileage, some don't. We just really want to take the time with our travelers and break it down for them. We have what's called an assignment benefit summary. And I tell my travelers it's like a snapshot of what your paycheck might look like. It's definitely, the breakdown of the hourly pay, the tax-free money, travel pay, and where I call it an estimate or a snapshot of what your paycheck may look like. It also is going to tell you what your estimated net take home is going to be. It's going to even tell you what you're going to make in 13 weeks, for the full contract. And it's going to talk to you about, your sick pay that you get in all 50 states. It's going to break down, there's canceled shift policies at every facility, just about, well, pretty much every single one. And I don't want you going in blind and all of a sudden realizing, well, they could cancel me 1 shift a week. No, we're going to talk about that up front. You're going to be prepared for it. You're going to understand what your paycheck is going to look like with us. You're still going to get your stipends if they cancel you. Once they exceed that call-off policy, you're getting your paycheck, your full paycheck. So this is something that I think Brandy hit on it. No 2 agencies are built the same. I think they think that we are. We're not. So I like to take the time and go over the total package value with them. What all is entailed, up to $1,000 in travel. Your way is paid. Guess what? Sit back. We're going to make this simple for you. We're going to make it easy for you. You need a physical, you need a flu shot, you need XYZ. We're paying for it. We're going to set it up for you. We're going to take care of you. Again, it goes back to taking care of the people that take care of us every day, right? So defending our culture, this is one I'm very proud of as well. We hire the best of the best. We have the most on-time starts in the industry. Brandy, I think you said it, marriage material. We want marriage material. So when we say we're defending our culture, it is truly hiring the best of the best and making sure that we are representing every time we walk into these facilities, and that if they work for TNAA, they're proud to work for TNAA, and that the hospitals are proud to hire nurses from TNAA. It's something that I'm super proud of. Again, we're not just filling orders and sending people into hospitals. It's a passion project. We're making sure that, again, you're taken care of, great clinical fit. We have resources for you. You are going to sign up with TNAA and be with us forever. We were just talking about this the other day. I've had nurses with me for 15 years that have never traveled with another agency. And that's not just me. We have other recruiters that have been with the company for 20 years that have these loyal, wonderful travelers that have been with them forever because we take great care of them. And I would love to actually talk about as well, one of the great things about TNAA is, again, not just that I learn about you, we explain the process. I want to make sure that travelers are truly armed with information. Knowledge is power, not to be cheesy. But if you come to me and you have a competitive from another agency and you don't know which offer to take, I'm not going to say, take it with me, take it with me. I'm going to say, okay, I want to make sure that you know what all is involved with that other contract or that other offer. Are they offering you travel pay? Are they taking care of your physical and your background check and everything else that you need for onboarding? Ask them about the canceled shift policy. Again, I'm not saying don't take it with them. I'm saying educate yourself and know the right questions to ask your other recruiter. So the resources, the education, I think that's what's beautiful about this company. Because again, it's not just about healthcare recruiting and the recruiters. It's about our social platforms, our mentorship, TravCon every year that connects nurses and allied professionals with other agencies. They have so many options, and they should have options, but they should have the tools to make the best decisions for themselves, and we love giving them that information.
Sounds like you guys are really advocates for nurses. You're not just showing up like, "Here you go, here's your assignment, okay, bye." You're with them from the beginning all the way through to the end and then to their next assignment and their next assignment after that. And when they have problems, if something isn't going well in the hospital, they contact you guys take care of it, you help them navigate through whatever obstacles they're facing, whether it's cancellation or they're not getting paid properly or whatever the fight is. It sounds like you guys are really kind of in their corner advocating for the nurses when they do have those problems. They're not just out on a limb all by themselves.
Agreed. And personally, when I was traveling with TNAA, for example, and a great example of this and just obsessing over the experiences, life happens and it's reality. Things are going to happen. Things are going to go wrong. There's going to be, family emergencies. And I was on assignment and had a family emergency. And, it ended up that I had to go ahead and cancel my contract. My father was super sick back home and he had to have a major heart surgery. And I had to be back there with him. Like, no question about it. And I will say that my TNAA recruiter was so supportive, like from start to finish. She didn't look at it like, oh my gosh, you're canceling your contract. She looked at it like, okay, things happen. How can we continue to support you? And I just really appreciated that. I mean, most companies literally wouldn't care. They would be like, okay, bye. Call us later when you're ready to get back to work. But my TNAA recruiter literally checked in on me at least weekly, if not more often, checking in on my personal life, seeing how I was doing, seeing if I needed anything. Again, all about that relationship building. And they just continued to win me over by doing those things. So, of course, when I was ready to step back out into the travel world after my dad was better and I was in a better position, of course, who do you think I was going to call? TNAA and my recruiter, and they got me started back on my journey again. They definitely obsess over that experience and want you to have a positive experience and just genuinely support you through life.
Nurses need more support, and especially when they're in a new environment, a new hospital, they don't have any friends there. It's all new, and that can be a lot. It can be a lot of pressure. It can be a little scary. So I think just you are the constant in their life at that time, where it's like, okay, no matter what, I have a lifeline here. I can call them, and they can help me navigate through this. Maybe you even have a service where you connect other travelers together that are in the same area, whatever it is that they might be needing at the time. But I think even if they don't need it, it's great to know that it's there. It's very comforting to know, okay, TNAA is there for me. If I do have a problem, if I do have a family emergency, they're going to help me figure this out. I'm not like just out here all by myself. How does TNAA maintain that culture, care, and transparency when the team and travelers are spread out across the country? I imagine you guys have so many nurses all over the place.
Thank you, technology, right? So, we obviously are always available for our travelers. If we aren't, because of course folks have families and whatnot, but if there's ever an issue clinically, like I mentioned before, our 24/7 line that, they can reach somebody, they're never alone, never, never, never. So I'm on the East Coast, my nurses are on the West Coast. My cell phone is always on me. I used to tell my travelers all the time, you don't work a 9 to 5, so I don't work a 9 to 5. If you need something, I'm here. It's also educating them on what that process looks like. If they want to look for jobs at 8 o'clock at night, we can, but we can't submit you because, of course, nobody's working at 9 o'clock at night, 8 o'clock at night, so we can do it the next day. So it's them understanding that process as well, to make sure that, while our time change may be some sort of factor, we're never going to miss out on the job. We're never going to make, if your timesheet needs to be in, like, we're always going to make sure the communication is there from every single department, every single person at this company, and to make sure that, again, I'm their lifeline. And if you message me at 9 o'clock at night and you're like, Gina, I'm having a rough go. I really need some help right now. I've got you. And our clinical team, you guys, I brag on them all the time, but they're just exceptional. And they will make sure to reach out. They're going to, I'm going to send you a gift card to go get some coffee. I'm going to give you some coffee on us. And that might seem simple, but truly it's just us once again saying, I care about you. Go get a cup of coffee on us. We'll send wellness packages. We'll send, uh, books about, if they've had a loss. Like, we are just doing these little things that matter. So again, you're not getting an AI response, generated response from anybody. If you need somebody live on the phone, there's always somebody here for you, regardless of the time zone, truly. And again, thank you for technology, right? So, back when I first started recruiting, we didn't have as many ways to connect as we do now, and it's a beautiful thing. It can be a beautiful thing. So
Yeah, you kind of answered my other question, was how you guys support nurses, not just, professionally, but also with their personal wellness. I think you covered that a little bit about care packages, and we'll send you a little gift card if you're, need coffee, or just kind of showing up for them whenever, just to show, hey, we care. Like, we care about how you're doing. Here's a little pick me up. Are there any other examples you can give, or Brandy, you want to maybe give any kind of more input on that?
Yes, and I think that she did such a great job. Those are all things that, as travelers, we're so thankful for. And again, that just really sets TNAA apart, because so many businesses and stuff, they don't really care about you and your well-being, or, maybe superficially they do, but TNAA, it's genuine and it shows in every act that they portray to their travelers. And I love it so much. But another great example is, as we know, burnout has been at its like all-time highest for us nurses, and TNAA takes that very, very seriously. They have done a lot of research, they've talked to their travelers and see how they can best support nurses during this burnout that we experience, especially through the pandemic. And so they have wellness and mental health support, which I think is so important. And so many other agencies don't offer that. And we need that support. We need to know that, hey, like, if we're mentally not in a good place, what resources do we have? Who can we talk to feel better? And TNAA has those resources for us to be able to talk to a healthcare professional to hopefully start to feel better and all of those things. And, also I will say, at the end of the day, if all of those acts that, TNAA is trying to provide resource wise, if it's not helping and the nurse is like, you know what, I can't do this, it's not really what any agency or business or hospital wants to hear. But TNAA is still very supportive of that. Like, you know what? We hear you. We stand behind you. Let's get you feeling better, get you back to your family, whatever it is that you're needing. And then again, when you're feeling better, that nurse or that healthcare professional, again, who are they going to call? They're going to call their recruiter at TNAA, because they felt supported in their most time of need when they were feeling really down and depressed and had mental health issues. So I can't speak highly enough about the mental health resources that TNAA offers. It's so important these days.
Yeah, it's really important. I mean, the things that nurses go through, and they're expected, they lose a patient and 15 minutes later they have to working on a different patient, and they're human and they're expected to just keep going like a robot. It takes a mental toll. It's really hard. I know nurses are really good at compartmentalizing, but they can only go through that so often, and need to talk about it, need to communicate it, especially if you're in a new place and you don't have any really like friends there, and maybe your friends are on a different time zone, and it's kind of like hard to get a hold of them It's great to have a supportive place where you can say, "Hey, I need to talk to somebody about this day that I just had because I'm not, I'm not doing too well." There's been such a stigma on therapy and as a sign of weakness, and really, it's the opposite of that. I think being able to express yourself and your feelings and what you've gone through, it only helps you heal and makes you stronger. Really, really awesome that TNAA offers a supportive system like that in place where if someone needs to talk, they can do so very easily.
Agreed.
Just kind of wanted to add on to some of them. I think that travelers sometimes also, and I don't want to downplay this, but I think just hearing thank you, just hearing I appreciate you. And when I brought up some of the little things that we do sometimes that is meant to say, we appreciate you, we're here for you. Like I said, the cup of coffee, whatever the case may be, they just had really bad shift. We're going to send them a little something. Um, but also some of the benefits that we have here are first stop health, of course, EAP. It's not just for the travelers, but it can be for their family members too. And the day one benefits that's got them covered, IVF coverage, like these are things that are so unique that can help a traveler. They're not just travelers and nurses, right? They're people, they have families, they have pets. I mean, something as simple as we have Wagmo Pet Wellness. I mean,
Mhm.
I feel like this company has legit thought of everything that you could need when you are traveling away from your family and your friends and your home. Um, and I value that so much. And I hope that our travelers feel that from every single person that works here. Um, and I just wanted to add a couple of those things because uh, our health and wellness committee at this company is also integrating the travelers into that piece. And we're doing more every single day to make sure that they are seen, they are heard, and they are celebrated.
Yeah, I really feel that. I can tell how much you guys care.
Stick time. Sorry, you guys, I'm just so passionate about this because I love it so much and I love everything. I could go on and on about all the things that are is here for our travelers. So the sick time, I wanted to talk about that really quick as well because a lot of travel healthcare professionals a lot of times, you guys are taking care of everybody else. You need to take care of yourself, right? You got to put the oxygen mask on yourself first. But what's really great is our sick time. And I want to point this out because every agency will say they have it, and it's because legally in some states they have to provide it. We provide it in all 50 states. And I had a traveler once tell me, Gina, I never get sick. I never call in. It's fine. Well, guess what? A dental emergency happened while she was on her contract, and she couldn't work any of her shifts that week. But because of her sick time, she got a full paycheck. So I just wanted to point that out too, because I think for travelers working away from home and it's not a staff job, I think sometimes they forget all these little benefits that are actually really big benefits that will take care of them. And I do think that falls under, their mental health and their wellness. And you can take that time and you're not going to have to worry about not getting paid, right? Like we've got you in literally all 50 states. So I wanted to make sure that that was really clear too, because that's been a biggie for a lot of my travelers.
That's a great point for sure.
And that brings me to a question, kind of a curiosity question. There's probably different, I imagine, I'm not a nurse, but I imagine there's different certifications for different states. So how does that work? Would you match nurses only with states they're certified in, or do you help them certify in other states as well?
Um, no, absolutely. I mean, it definitely varies from what kind of healthcare professional that you are. As far as nursing, TNAA has a whole licensing department that does nothing but helps you make sure to get the license for that state. And so for nursing specifically, if you have a compact state license, which is great, that means that you can travel to all states in the US that participate in that compact state licensure agreement. So that opens up the doors widely for nurses who have compact state license. But the other ones who don't, TNAA has a department that will help get the license. They also, which is so wonderful, if you take a contract with them within a specific time of getting that license, they'll reimburse you for the license as well. And all agencies definitely don't do that. They can also like guide you in the steps. to get the license. And again, there's so many things out there that just are very time consuming and overwhelming when you're first a new traveler getting started. And we get, TNAA can help them every single step of the way with obtaining those licensures that they need for each state.
That's awesome. A question just on travel nursing in general, because I'm sure there's a lot of nurses out there who are listening or in nursing school currently that are listening or watching this podcast. And maybe they're curious, maybe they've heard different things about travel nursing. Can you talk about a little bit? I want to go over maybe some misconceptions about travel nursing and just kind of just talk a little bit about the benefits, I think, of travel nursing as well.
Definitely, there are misconceptions. There are myths out in this industry. I'm debunking them every single day on social media and when I'm out here talking to these future travelers. But I think there's a couple. The first one I want to go over is a lot of people ask, is travel healthcare still worth it? And I literally just did a seminar on it last week with TNAA and their marketing team just to kind of debunk that myth. So a lot of people are asking, is it still worth it? And I believe 100% that travel healthcare is still worth it for many of us. And, as we kind of talked about, Gina did too, but we're very big on your why. And we want to know what's driving you? Why do you want to travel? And knowing that really helps me be able to guide that traveler to help reach their goals, right? So if they're one of those people that are looking to go to new places, to have new adventures, to build their resume, potentially make more money, all of those things, that's what we love to hear, right? Because travel healthcare is still worth it if that is your why. If you're just like, I'm trying to get rich and I only care about money, definitely it's time to kind of take a step back. And the industry is a very supply and demand driven industry. And obviously, the pay isn't what it was during the pandemic, as we know, but it is still very lucrative. There are so many benefits, pros that I'm going to go over here shortly. But I think that's one of the common misconceptions, is like travel nursing isn't worth it anymore. Well, I definitely disagree. I think it is. I think it is still stable. I think that there are so many facilities that need nurses, that need other allied healthcare professionals so bad. All of the research suggests that we're going to do nothing but continue to have a nursing shortage in the upcoming years. And these hospitals are going to continue to rely on travel nursing agencies to fill those gaps, when people are out sick or out pregnant or whatever the situation is. They are still going to need travel nurses, travel healthcare professionals. We're not going anywhere. So I think that is a really big misconception. And two, I think another misconception that I've kind of mentioned was you should only get into travel nursing for the money. And yes, travel nursing can help you, reach your financial goals a little bit quicker, but there's so many other amazing benefits to traveling other than just the money, right? And a big one as a nurse of 23 years is just so important to me is that flexibility and that freedom when it comes to my schedule. As a traveler, I have so much more flexibility over that. I can take time off built into my assignment, in between assignments. TNAA specifically, like we talked about, will help cover my insurance in between that gap. If it's 30 days or less and I already have an assignment booked with them for my next assignment. So I can take a break in between assignments, which is so important. And I love having more flexibility over my schedule.
Mhm.
So I love that part of it. And then obviously the pay is definitely a big one. I feel like I've been able to reach my financial goals way faster than traditional bedside nursing. Also, you don't have to get involved in any of the staff politics or the drama, the staff meetings, getting your PTO denied over and over. This time that we're promised that we can take off, when we're staff nurses, and then it comes down to it and you submit that request and you're continually denied your time off. But you don't have to worry about that as much being a traveler because you can take that time off in between your contracts or during your contracts as well. And another perk is just, is really that resume building, the professional growth. It's so important. And it also gives you this confidence about you both professionally and personally, when you're able to travel all over the United States by yourself to these facilities, you grow in so many ways. You just can't put a monetary value on all of these perks that you gain as being a travel healthcare professional. You become adaptable, resourceful, and you're proud of yourself, because you never knew that you could rely on yourself like you do when you're a traveler. And to me, like, that's just so important. I've grown so much. And it was, if not, I say this over and over, was one of the best, if not the best decision that I could have made for myself, both personally and professionally. So I just have not enough great things to say about all the perks of traveling, as well as we all know is the adventure aspect for sure, and the experiences that you're going to get to have that you never would get to have if you're in your hometown. So I've been able to meet so many amazing people, see so many amazing places, all these bucket list things that I've always wanted to do, from being a travel nurse. So it's not a job, it's definitely a lifestyle. And once the travel bug bites, you're done. It's there forever.
I'm curious because you've done travel nursing, Brandy. I'm curious. You talk about the politics, not having to go to the meetings, not being denied your PTO and all that. And I'm just wondering, is that thing where there is a little bit of a tension between when travel nurses come in because they are usually because you guys are negotiating such amazing contracts as well that they usually are getting better benefits, better pay compared to the nurses that are staffed at the hospital?
That's such a great question. And I think so much dictates how you're going to be treated and perceived. And that means that if you go in with a positive, helpful attitude, that you're there to help them, you're part of their team, you're showing willingness to jump in and help without being asked, you're being genuine, getting to know the staff, about them and their families and be helpful and not go in acting entitled and talking about money and all of those things. I feel like I've had very good success by not being treated that way. I go in and I'm like, hey, I am here to help you. What can I do to help you? How can I help ease this load? I'm here for you. And when you have that kind of attitude, I think it dictates everything. They're so grateful for your help. They need your help. They're glad you're there. But it's all about that attitude and approach that you take going in. Because if you go on and act entitled and talk about how much money you make and sit over in the corner on your phone, while everyone is drowning and you're maybe caught up with your patients, yeah, you're going to be treated negatively. They're going to be like, wow, well, she just makes more money than us and does, less of a job or whatever it is that they think. But I think, if somebody ruined it for everybody by going in and having that kind of attitude. But for the most part, if you go in and you just kill them with kindness, show them that you're genuine, you want to be there, you're part of their team. I've had really great success with being treated very fairly, and never being, bullied or anything like that. I mean, of course, there's always that one Karen in every unit, no matter if you're staff or you're not. But I'm just like, you know what? Just kill them with kindness. There's one everywhere. I have a great example. I went to an assignment in Charleston, South Carolina. It was actually one of my hardest assignments for a lot of reasons, but everyone kind of warned me about this guy that worked on night shift with me. And they're like, oh, he's just an old, grouchy old man. Like, just don't pay any attention to him and blah, blah, blah. Well, it's so funny because I got to know him really well. We worked night shift together and they kind of put us in a part of the NICU where that was apart from the main unit sometimes. And we took care of of the bigger babies. And so I was there with him a lot, just the two of us. And I got to know him, and literally, like, he was one of my, like, most favorite people ever. Like, he was so nice. You just, like, had to, like, take a minute and get to know him, and he was just kinda rough around the edges at first and probably put his wall up, but I got to know him, and he was one of my favorites. And so, always what people tell you, that doesn't mean that that's how your experience is gonna go. People only talk about the negative stuff, they don't talk about the positives, and I laugh about that situation because everyone was like, "Oh, he's so mean. Just ignore him, avoid him." And I'm like, "I actually love him and I'm still friends with him to this day." So, you never know.
That's a great story. I know we can all relate to being bullied, whether it was in school or in a job or just kind of maybe not bullied is the right word, but kind of iced out a little bit, for whatever reason. And sometimes it has nothing to do with you. Sometimes you can be the most polite, most helpful, most hard worker you can be, and there's still going to be people who are mad about their own lives. So, but it's great because I know that you guys offer that support there too, with the mental health aspect, and I'm sure help navigate with great advice like what you're giving there, Brandy, of just kind of getting to know people and, coming with a non-judgmental attitude as well, because people have their biases. And so it sounds like you guys have a really great group over there and a lot of resources for nurses who could be going through certain obstacles, and that they're just not alone, because sometimes you're in a new place, you can get very lonely feeling. And I appreciate and love how much TNAA offers resources and support and transparency and honesty and love and care and like um, a genuine care for the nurses and their life and how they're not just how they're doing at their job, but also how the rest of their life is going while they're still pursuing that dream of nursing. Any advice you would give maybe somebody listening right now is like kind of they're on the fence. They're like, I've thought about travel nursing. I just don't know. Do you have any advice for someone who's like thinking about it, or a way that they can kind of like get their toes wet without fully committing?
I would say I know it is very overwhelming. I've been in your shoes. I know exactly what it feels like, and it's truly overwhelming. And I did not have the support that I have now and that I offer to others when I first started. And definitely, I want you to know that you do not have to do this alone. You are not alone. There's so much to learn from contracts, recruiters, housing, tax stuff, and it can feel so overwhelming very, very fast. So that's why having a mentor like me, like Travel Nurse 101, is so valuable, and it can make all the difference because I've been there, I've done that, I know what it feels like, and I can save you from so much of that heartache and learning everything the hard way. I am available to help you navigate everything step by step, hold your hand, explain everything so you know what to expect, so you're prepared and you feel very supported from the start. And then I obviously gently hand you over to Gina's team and a recruiter that's going to continue on that and continue providing you that extra support. You are not alone and you do not have to figure it all out by yourself. We don't want you to. We want you to learn the right way. There's so many myths out there. So that would be my one big piece of advice.
I'm going to add to that and say, yes, use your resources. There are so many opportunities online, even through Travel Gypsy Nurse, TGN online. That is a wonderful traveler community where you can learn about different facilities. You can look for housing. There's job postings from different agencies. You've got TravCon every single year that, like I mentioned previously, brings healthcare professionals and agencies and other vendors together. You can also take classes and update your CEUs. Like there's that. And you don't have to be a travel nurse to go to TravCon. That I don't want people to think that it's a great resource, but it's also where you can kind of dip your toes in and say, is this what I want to do? TN 101 with Brandy is just incredible because, like she said, she's been in their shoes. She's traveled with other agencies. She's traveled with TNAA. She's going to give you the real deal, right? And I mentioned it before, but there are so many agencies out there. When I started in this industry 20 plus years ago, I could name the big three. Now it is just, what agency did you say? Never heard of them. Nothing wrong with that, but I think you have to do your research. You have to get, referrals from your friends. Who do you travel with? Do you like your recruiter? And on the note of the recruiter, it is such a vital relationship through this process. You have to make sure that you have a recruiter that is listening to you and is placing you in the best possible clinical fit. If you had a contract that was just Like you mentioned before, with one of the myths that was just so challenging and so difficult, and people may not have been nice to you, and your recruiter is listening to you, then they can send you now to a hospital that is an incredible traveler community. They are travel friendly. They are going to welcome you with open arms so that maybe your next contract, you're like, I'm up for another challenge. Send me somewhere that, I'm going to come in and I'm going to, there is a staffing shortage. Some of these hospitals really, really need you, right? But what do you need? What can I help you with? What problem can I help solve for you? So if your recruiter isn't listening to you, that's the first problem. And I think there's so much distrust out there with agencies, especially after COVID. I think that's another myth where it's like you want an agency and a recruiter that has your back, that's going to take care of you, that again is going to listen to you and go on this journey with you, award you with a Daisy Award. There's promotions and giveaways and contests that we have on our social platform. There are just so many other ways that we reward and celebrate our travelers every single day. And I could go on and on. Find yourself a recruiter that is passionate about this as much as you are, because, you know, what you do is tough. It's very rewarding, but you need someone that's going to be there for you every step of the way.
I think you guys are really changing the narrative. You're raising the bar, what they've had in the past and what they actually deserve, and you're raising the bar to meet them where they are. It's the support, the transparency, and caring about them as individuals, and placing in them in a place where they're going to flourish, ebb and flow with the nurses, and what they're trying to accomplish as well. So that's really awesome. We have covered this quite a bit, but I think just if you could say in a couple sentences at the end of the day, what do you hope that every traveler takes away from working with TNAA?
At the end of the day, I hope that people walk away from this after listening today to just know that there are companies and resources out there to help them be successful, like TNAA, if they want to try traveling healthcare. Definitely, TNAA sets the bar very, very high. They offer all of the resources for you to genuinely feel valued and supported and to be successful, as in the long haul as a travel healthcare professional. So they understand that you're a very real person. They're real people. They know that you have fears and dreams, and TNAA gets that, and they want you to help you reach that. So whether it's your first assignment or your 15th, you'll feel like you are a part of a team. You're part of a family, that they show up for you, that they have your back, and hopefully you'll feel like you have found a place and a sense of belonging and be successful on your travel healthcare adventures.
Do you have any travel nursing, like, tips, tricks, hacks, anything you wanna throw out there that's kind of, like, quick and fun, for people to think about?
Definitely, I think pack smart, not heavy. I'm a very big overpacker in like every sense of my life. I just went on a cruise and literally my bag weighed like 62 pounds and I'd way too many clothes. But definitely do research. I offer a lot of blogs over at travelnurse101.com. One of them is about packing the things that you need, but it's very easy to overpack. So you want to make sure you really, really understand what you are going to need, and you can also buy stuff once you get there, for sure. And I always kind of keep a go-to bag in my car that has just like some essentials, extra scrubs, stethoscope, a coffee mug, some small few things that I can just always grab and have readily available. My little go-to bag if I need it. And as far as tips and tricks, I mean, I know right now the big one, kind of like we mentioned, is housing. It's just a part of, the economy that we're in right now. But TNAA's housing support is the real deal. They have so many resources to try to help you find housing. I also have a lot of tips and tricks to help you guys find housing. There's some social media groups on Facebook, Furnish Finders, Airbnb. There's lots of ways for us to help you try to find housing. So don't let some of these fears that you have, maybe we just need to talk through them and we can work through them. There's resources to help you with some of these challenging aspects like housing.
And tell us where we can find you. We'll also link it down below for everybody as well.
Definitely have a website, travelnurse101.com. It is filled with valuable complimentary education right there. I've poured my little heart and soul into it and did a lot of research about what these healthcare professionals are going and asking Google. And I wanted to answer those questions for them so they can find accurate, concise information very quickly and learn what they need to learn about travel healthcare professionals. And also, there's an option to book a mentor session with me, which is also complimentary. It's a very casual conversation. I'll just give you a phone call, learn about you, your history, your goals, and see how I can best be a resource for you. Also, on social, you can follow me on Facebook and Instagram at TravNurse101, and TikTok is Travel Nurse 101.
I'll add definitely follow Travel Nurse Across America on Instagram and Facebook. It's just Travel Nurse Across America. I definitely would recommend TGN, which is the Gypsy Nurse on Facebook. And they also have a website. There's a lot of great resources there as well. I cannot recommend TN101 enough. What an incredible resource and so unique. In a world of AI, you can talk to a person. And there's just something about that that, it's priceless. So I definitely recommend every traveler just getting on Travel Nurse Across America's social, TN101, TGN. I also wanted to say to travelers out there, again, they have so many options. And in a world of AI, our company, Brandy hit it on the head earlier, you're part of the family. Our CEO knows your name. Our senior VP knows your name. Our company celebrates you when you win. There are nurses that have never traveled with me that have traveled with other recruiters that I know who they are. So I can't say it enough. You are part of the family when you travel with Travel Nurse Across America.
I would love to just tap into what Gina said about TravCon, which is called the Travelers Conference. It's coming up in September. I know that seems so far away, but it's not. We're going to be having some giveaways for some free tickets to go. So be sure to follow us on social, Travel Nurse Across America, Travel Nurse 101, and also the Travelers Conference, especially for Nurses Week. We're going to have some giveaways, of course, but I cannot speak enough about the Travelers Conference. That community, the same people come back year after year to see their friends, to make new friends. There's such a sense of community about this group that just lights my heart on fire. It is so much fun. There's opportunity to walk around an exhibit hall, meet all the agencies that are out there, meet your recruiter, meet some other entrepreneurs in the industry, meet other nurses, go to educational sessions where you gain CEUs. You get to pick what you want to go to. So if something doesn't seem like, it seems like a boring topic to you, you don't have to go, but there's so many great educational sessions for everyone. They have a traveler success boot camp that is on Sunday before the event starts, and I'll be having a speaking session there about the interview process and how to land the job that you really want. But there's so many great speakers, especially if you're a new or aspiring traveler, to go to that Traveler Success Boot Camp. It's just wonderful. So definitely check that out and be on the lookout for some giveaways for some tickets.
And you know what's funny? I think I've been going to TravCon since it started, if that tells you how old I am. But it is a blast, like Brandy said, and you don't have to be a traveler to attend. It's a really great place to, like Brandy said, network, not just with agencies, but with other travelers. A lot of people find a travel buddy there. So it's a really great resource. Highly, highly recommend. So definitely follow Brandy, follow Travel Nurse Across America, follow TGN, because there will be giveaways, especially closer to the event. So take advantage of that. Honestly, call a recruiter at Travel Nurse Across America today. And I say that with all my heart. If you are struggling at your hospital you're currently at, if you're just having a rough assignment, there are so many wonderful hospitals out there that will welcome you with open arms. Maine, South Dakota, Louisiana, Washington, North Carolina. I could keep going up. Montana, Brandy, that's one of her favorite locations. I mean, We know where you can go to have a really great experience. So we're here to help. We are here to help. You help people every day. Let us help you.
Well, thank you, Brandy, and thank you, Gina, for joining MDF Instruments Crafting Wellness podcast. It's certainly been a pleasure. I've enjoyed having you both on. And for everyone listening and watching, we'll be linking all of the resources below, and you can check them out on social media. Thank you guys so much.